Now, almost overnight, both organizations have made announcements that change the entire direction of the sport.
PGA Tour and LIV Golf just dropped announcements that change everything, and I mean everything. 4 years of lawsuits, press conferences, and locker room tension between these two sides, and it's not ending the way anyone thought it would. It's not a merger. It's not a truce. It's ending because one side is running out of money and the other just reinvented itself overnight. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why the sport you thought you knew 4 years ago is about to look completely different, and which side actually came out on top. Let's break it all down. Let's start with the PGA Tour, because their announcement tells you exactly where golf is headed next, and it's bigger than anyone expected. New Commissioner Brian Rolab, who came over from the NFL, the most commercially sharp league on the planet, just unveiled the biggest structural shakeup the tour has made in years. And here's the part that actually surprised people. He admitted the tour brought a lot of this on itself. Too many events, not enough innovation, product that got comfortable sitting at the top and stopped evolving. For years, the posture was, we're the establishment, we don't need to change. Rolab just tore that script up in his first real address as commissioner. The changes themselves are massive. The FedEx Cup postseason is getting completely reworked. A new 2-tier competitive system is being introduced, complete with relegation, meaning a tour card is no longer a guaranteed job for life. And underneath that top tier, there's a brand new Challenger Series, essentially a formal minor league with a real, visible path to the top. Translation: fewer guaranteed paychecks, way more pressure to perform every single week, and a much clearer ladder from the bottom of the sport to the very top. Not everyone's on board. Rory McIlroy, one of the most respected voices in the sport, already called out the lower tier, comparing it to a glorified mini-tour with a nicer name. His concern isn't just branding, it's whether players stuck there have actually made it or just been rebranded into a permanent underclass. Expect this to be a major storyline heading into next season. Quick gut check. If you think this shakeup is exactly what golf needed, drop "about time" in the comments. If you think the tour only moved because LIV forced their hand, drop "LIV won." I'm reading every single comment on this one. Now here's the announcement on the other side, and this one isn't a win, it's a confession. LIV Golf, backed by an estimated $6 billion in Saudi money, is in real, serious trouble. The Public Investment Fund just confirmed they're pulling funding after this season, stating plainly that continuing to bankroll LIV no longer fits their strategy. After 4 years and billions of dollars, the fund that started this entire war just said, we're done. The numbers behind that decision are staggering. LIV had reportedly been burning through roughly $100 million every single month trying to keep this league alive for 4 years, with shockingly little to show for it. No meaningful broadcast deal, no real ratings growth, no mainstream relevance shift. What followed was fast and brutal. Chairman and founder Yasser Al-Rumayyan stepped down from the board entirely. Restructuring experts from Alvarez and Marsal, a firm that specializes in exactly this kind of crisis, got called in. A scheduled tournament got quietly postponed, and there are now real, credible whispers that LIV could be laying the groundwork for a U.S. bankruptcy filing if new investors don't show up fast. Reports say CEO Scott O'Neill is out hunting for somewhere between $250 and $350 million just to keep operations stable, with the real possibility of shrinking the league down to as few as 10 events a year. Look at the two sides of this right now, side by side. Walk into the PGA Tour's world and you find an organization acting like a team that just won something big, confident, publicly admitting past mistakes, laying out a bold vision for the next decade. Walk into LIV's world and you find board resignations, emergency consultants, a postponed tournament, and a desperate scramble to find anyone still willing to write checks. 4 years ago, everyone assumed this would go the exact opposite way. The assumption was that Saudi money was bottomless, that LIV would outspend the tour into irrelevance, and the tour would be the one scrambling to survive. Instead, the side with unlimited money is in crisis, and the side that looked outdated is confidently rebuilding. The bottomless well turned out to have a bottom after all. It's worth understanding why the tour felt confident enough to move this boldly right now. Rolab isn't a golf lifer. He came from a league that treats its own product like it can always be improved, never like it's sacred. Previous tour leadership treated the existing format almost like a tradition to protect. Rolap looked at the same format with fresh eyes and saw something stale and years overdue for a rebuild. His admission wasn't weakness, it was strategy. The only way to actually beat LIV for good isn't to wait for it to collapse. It's to build something so good, there's nowhere else worth looking. There's a fascinating subplot happening inside LIV on an individual level. Bryson DeChambeau, whose contract is up at the end of this year, has reportedly been personally helping LIV's CEO pitch investors, pushing a model built around team franchises and player equity. He's actively trying to save the version of golf he signed up for. Meanwhile, other LIV players are reportedly doing the opposite, quietly exploring paths back to the PGA Tour or DP World Tour before LIV potentially collapses, trying to get ahead of a situation that could leave them stranded. Same locker room, two completely different bets on the future. So the real question now isn't who won, it's whether LIV finds a new backer before the money runs out completely. If it doesn't, we're not looking at a shrinking league. We're looking at the end of one. Two announcements, same week, two completely opposite futures. If you want to know the second LIV's investor situation breaks one way or the other, that's exactly what I'll be covering next. So subscribe now so you don't miss it.